let's talk about this. Let's really break down what's going on, because people have tried forever to expose our get rich quick schemes. All these, they say everything right. Yeah. And let's break it down. And so let's share exactly Rick and Zach Ginn boast. Let's share how we make our money and share it all. So the truth about our wealth for our family, for wholesaling, in real estate in general, in life. How did we get rich? Why are we trying to get you rich? And what's the ploy, right? Let's talk about it. So number one, how? The truth about it. Let's talk about this. Number one, we are super simple people. And I'm not saying that in a weird, mean way, but it's the honest truth. I look at things in a very simple way. You look at things in a very simple way where, hey, this is working for us. Let's keep doing more of that. This isn't working. Let's stop doing that. It's an advantage and a disadvantage. But the biggest advantage of us keeping things simple is we don't go crazy on other things, right? We don't go out here and tell you I'm the expert on stock market trading and analysis and go buy gold and then sell silver at this price and do all these options. Guys, we're simple. We're very simple people. We make millions of dollars wholesaling houses, and that's what we focus on, right? But we keep things simple in our own business. We find a list that works and we do very well. People ask us, Zach, how do I get good in this market? I did 5 deals. Where do you get your 5 deals from? Oh, I got 4 of them from code violation. I'm a simple thinker. This is my scam. If 80% of your deals have come from code violations, let's pull more code violations. Let's text code violations, right? Like, guys, I hope you really understand this, that when I scaled up our wholesaling business, when we scaled it up together, we scaled it up in a very simple method. There's no crazy advanced CRM system we use. We keep it super simple. Anybody that personally works with us on our JVs, and we use Podio. We don't go crazy. We don't make everything complicated. We keep things super simple, right? We don't like to complicate things like crazy, right? We keep this business simple. When we scaled up, guess what? I looked at what my day was like. I looked at what your day was like, right? And we figured out what are the income producing activities that are not really making too much money and which ones are. I figured, hey, you know what's making me the most money during my days? Acquisitions, going on appointments. You know what's really not making me the most money, which I could probably give to somebody, is cold calling. And we hired a VA. How do I hire a VA? Guess what we did? Hey, I'm gonna record myself cold calling, and then I'm gonna have a VA cold call with me, and then we're gonna train together on that. And they're gonna be little mini-me's, and then scale it up from there. Guys, it's people really complicate it. You know, like, how do you do good on appointments? Do you go crazy salesperson? No. You keep it. You're an average guy, and you connect, right?
So a lot of people, you go back to the previous slide, is like, you talk about wealth. I always go back to, why did I get into wholesaling? Listen, everybody wants to be rich, so let's just get rid of that cover. No, nobody would ever turn it down to a point. I got into it to get the ultimate freedom of my time. If the money came with it, I was fine with it. But honestly, I looked at it, if I made the same amount as I did in corporate America and I got more time with my kids, I'm fine. I'm going to solve a problem. So wealth isn't always defined in money. It's defined in like personal freedom and what you can do. And I didn't have the luxury to spend a lot of time with my father, my parents when I was growing up, because it was just a different world. But I made a choice. Unfortunately, I didn't make the choice until I was 33, and I had an epiphany. And the idea is, most people get into wholesaling is understand your why. Somehow we've made it a race to see who is going to be the wealthiest, and somehow we don't even define wealth anymore. If I have all the money to pay my bills, I don't have to worry about like any financial stress, meaning I could technically retire and I can do whatever I want. Honestly, that's all wealth is. Money is just a game, and you can play the game. If you want to play the game, that's fine, and we'll teach you the game. But I'm here to tell you, so many of us lost focus on what really matters. I've met some of the wealthiest people like all over the world, and money is not the indicator if you're going to be happy or not. So understanding your definition of wealth. And number two, I think a lot of people got into the wholesaling game, particularly the coaching game, because they could do the money chase. And the reality is, I play this game, I always run the marathon. I have never run the sprint. I'm so confused when people run the sprint. So it's taken us, 3.5 years just to even get to this point. I feel like we've just started the race, like we just did the warm up. Whereas a lot of people, we see companies cycling over and over, and companies being sold, and these coaching companies, guys, everything you do is a marathon. Now, I'm the first to admit you, I'm not the fastest guy to make money. Like, I took my time to do it. I had to figure it out, but it's made me the wholesaler I am today. So now when we teach about teaching wholesaling, is I'm in it for the marathon, guys. Everyone's like, I don't understand what you're doing, Rick, Zach, this is crazy. You guys need to take the coaching money. All short-term money. Why? Because I've watched at least 35 coaching companies come and go. In the end, here's the best part. The company doesn't exist anymore. People took a bunch of money, and then people are left on the sideline scratching their head because I thought this community was going to go forever. And so the one thing I can beg you to do is define what you consider wealthy. And number number two, always play the long game, because that's what's going to pay off in the long run for you. Anybody can run a sprint, and most people can crush me in a 40-yard dash, but get me on a marathon 26, I'm going to crush you because I never stop.
That's the truth. And everyone wants to get rich quick. I'll tell you the truth. I got rich slow, comparatively. So I define myself rich, $1 million net worth. Okay. Net worth. If I sold everything, I have $1 million. Being a millionaire, technically, right?
Yeah.
That's not like, I see some people, I'm worth 20 million, but I'm going to 10x my company on earning. No, like I sold everything. That's how much I'm worth. Okay. Not selling a wholesaling, like assets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got that at 20 years old. And so that was 3 years in the game. So 3 years took me to become a millionaire. That relatively slow to get rich in wholesaling, right? Like it's slow.
Did a lot faster now.
But like that's 3 years. And most people think they'd be a millionaire in 6 months, right? Like relatively, I got rich slow, right? Now, if you compare that to a 9-to-5 W-2 employee who's puts, $2,000 every other month in their 401k, they'll probably be 60 and they'll have $1 million, right?
Yeah.
So comparatively, I got rich quick. Everybody goes into wholesaling real estate trying to make $1 million in a year. And the truth is, if you can go from making 50K a year to 100 to 250 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 7, and then year 6 you're at $1 million. Guess what happens in year 7? You're not going back to 100K. You don't go back to those old numbers. You only keep going up. And that is the truth. And that's the way we build our business. And so the cool part is we can just kind of go ghost. We could delete all our social medias and just go ghost if I don't want to deal with these gurus. But I got to whoop these gurus.
So I get people questioning all the time about like my wealth and my business. Guy, dude, I've been doing this 20 years. Yeah. And I get questioned by people doing this business 4 or 5 years. Once again, if you're so quick to get on the internet and brag about what your wealth is in a relatively short period of time, it typically means you're running a sprint. And here's the one thing, everybody runs a sprint, they always run out of gas and they stop.
I'll tell you this.
And so like the turtle and the hare type of deal, like I've never been the quickest, but I don't understand why people go on, especially the coaching industry. I do this and we've done this and I saw some crazy claims the last few weeks. I see it all the time. Guys, it's used to impress you. So, but like when you get in, you're going to eventually find out most of it's not true. And so we take the opposite approach. We're hard workers. We keep it simple. I've been doing this 20 years plus. Like I make my money wholesaling. I do not take the short-term cashing money because I learned a long time ago, guys, coaches, don't take this personally. It's just the truth. I know you're all watching.
Take it personally.
You have a highly paid skill being a coach. It is a job. It is nothing less. And you got to be honest and truthful, but like you're telling all your members, you don't want a job, you don't want a 9-to-5. Coaching it's hard. It's a lot of work. And the reality is most sides don't understand each other. And that's why you have the 95% failure ratio, because the expectation, hey, Rick and Zach are going to coach me perfectly. And you get on a Zoom call and there's 100 other people in there. You're like, oh crap, I didn't ask any questions. And then the program's over in 3 months. What happens if I don't get a deal in 3 months? Oh, we have another level you can go to. And it just, guys, it's crazy. So my point of this is when people try to impress upon you how wealthy they are, especially they have a coaching product, you got to start looking through it. Well, anybody can throw anything out there. I could give you a video and go, hey, I make 50 million a year and this is how I do it. There is no way for you to actually verify and do it. That's why we don't go on and make these wild claims with it. Am I a billionaire? No. Am I very comfortable? Yes, but I make myself uncomfortable every day in what I do. Wholesaling is the ticket to get you there. Here's the reality. In the wholesaling world, you're not going to find billionaires in the wholesaling world. It's not an avenue to get to $1 billion. It's a great starting point, but you'll have to do other business ventures. This is why you have the onslaught of coaching. So if I could flip 1,000 students or 1,000 properties, which is easier, you already know the answer to it. And that's why we come to those numbers. So guys, define what truly makes you happy. Wealth is all defined by you. Stop comparing it to what everybody else does. You might not want to do what I do. I took the long hard. I got wealthy slow, and the slower you get wealthy, the longer you'll probably keep it. Because a lot of people make quick wealth. People who win a lottery, what do? It's all gone because they don't know what to do with the money. I went through the exact same cycle.
Exactly. And the biggest flex we can have in our life, especially for our family, is we don't have to tell you how much money we got, and you will never find it out. And that's, I think, the biggest flex we have, because I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and no one's going to know. And that's what we can tell you.
Yeah.
So that's the truth about our wealth. And so let's break down how we got it, right? Let's do it. Guys, we can clown on gurus all day. I do it all day.
Everybody wants to size up everybody, like how much someone make. Who gives a crap what you make? Like, honestly, if you do what you say and you're in the wholesaling industry and you flip properties and you show HUDs and you have fun doing it and you've been doing 20 years plus, knock yourself out. Like, I don't care. My problem is when people try to teach something they have very little skill set to do it on. That's real challenging for me.
Exactly. So let's break down how we make our money in wholesaling real estate. Number 2, this is very important. This is a big lesson I think everybody needs to know here. But we are focused on like our main income source, wholesaling and real estate investing. And I want everybody to understand this. This is how we're exposed. But if somebody's coming up to you and saying, you need to quit wholesaling and you're already making a comfortable living in wholesaling and do this new strategy or this new strategy, I'm telling you guys, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And once you start pulling your focus from one thing, it gets crazy. So the biggest epidemic I've seen in wholesaling real estate, the biggest issue, this was 2 years ago, not anymore, but this was about 2 years ago, a year and a half. Every wholesaler who was making $100K a year, they started buying Amazon stores and they started focusing their time on those Amazon stores. Yeah. And guess what happened? They started not focusing too much on their wholesaling. And guess what? Their wholesaling business tanked. And then the Amazon stores started banning them. And then boom, both businesses flew down. And the truth is, if this one thing is feeding you, do not bite the hand that is feeding you. I think that's is that in the Bible? That's an old, it's an ancient saying from the smartest people. Do not bite the hand that feeds you. So if wholesaling is feeding your family, putting a roof over your head, building wealth for you and your family, why would you go and try to do a new little venture, right? And I tell everybody, reinvest in the wholesaling business. But like, if you want to start building some wealth, you got rental properties, you have, I'm not the biggest guy that's going to stream about stocks, but like you could still buy like a regular index fund. Like if you just I know wholesalers and real estate investors clown on that stuff, but like if you put like 10, 20 grand a year for like 10, 20 years, you're gonna it's still wealth and it's still something you can't take away. Don't go invest it on this crazy, insane deal, right? And for some wholesalers out here, I'll tell you, and we've dealt with some of these properties. If you're a wholesaler and then you want to pour like $250,000 into like rental properties, then you go underwater in debt, and then you got to be a manager for all that's going to take away from your wholesaling on top of that too. If you're going to manage 10 rental properties, it will take away from your wholesaling. I promise you, because you're spending time you could have been wholesaling onto managing the rental. So definitely have property managers, all that stuff. But I'm just letting you know, we focus when it comes to producing income, things that actually produce income. Yeah. Rental properties, we have a lot, but that's not what I consider an active income source for us that I need to focus my time on. Someone's got to focus on that, not me. I'll look at it every week, but that's not something we're focused on. Actually wholesaling houses, real estate investing too, subject twos, creative financing deals. We like the rentals too, but like we're rich in wholesaling. First of all, because you spent 20 years, I'm at 6 years into this. Crazy. It's almost a quarter of your time and a little more than that, but we did it because we just focused on that, and every single time you might've been swayed for something else, you'll never do well.
Yeah. So guys, in my 20 years, I've pretty much tried everything in real estate investing. And here's the one thing I can tell you. Fix and flips, you name it. I had
we do them too.
I had a large rental portfolio. I went through multiple hurricanes. To me, rentals are okay, but I'm just telling you.
As someone that owns a lot of rentals, they're okay.
They're great, but they are not passive. They are anything but passive. Even if you have a manager, you have to be very active. Yeah. Properties have people on them, and like I've learned a lot. So the fix and flips, everything, the rehab, you got the contractors. When it's all said and done, the money is always in the real estate deal. And whoever can do the most deals without driving themselves nuts is going to be the wealthiest, happiest person you're ever going to meet. And guys, I tried the big baller thing, and I'm not saying it doesn't work. It just doesn't fit my personality. I don't want to sit behind a desk all day and manage people and constantly have 6, 8, 10 meetings. I get it. It's necessary with communication. You have all those people. And if you're in a market, you can make that work, knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, I tried every which way. And after about 14 years in the business, I made a decision that I was going to run a small team, make the highest profit, and find a way to move on with my legacy. And that's why we're talking to you here. Like, you've got to simplify. And the real estate investing community is designed with the coach and guru mentality is, if anything can come up with a new marketing thing, they're going to sell it to you. And by the way, I've been guilty of buying it all. It doesn't 9 times out of 10, most of it won't help you, and it's just an excuse to sell you a course. In the last 2 years, you've seen more titling on course sales than I've ever seen in my entire 20 plus years, and I think it's only going to get worse.
And let's talk about real estate investing for a second. Someone has a really good comment I do want to bring up, but here's the thing. Here's, like I say, real estate investing, there's good real estate investing and bad real estate investing. So one thing I'll tell you, like the whole Airbnb arbitrage thing, that's not real estate investing. When I say real estate investing, I'm pouring money into something that is proven and good to go, because Airbnbs, ask someone else Airbnbs. I can tell you it takes a skill set for it. And if you're that's taking away from your wholesaling income. And I promise you will end up losing more money off of that unless you're a special
Airbnbs
case.
Cost a lot of time. So even if it's not your time, you have to pay someone. Now, I'm not talking about 10 or 20 grand, a significant portion of the income, because the reality is you're running an off-market hotel. Imagine checking somebody in and out of a property multiple times in a week. There is a lot of energy and a lot of manpower. Now, imagine if you had 10 or 20 of those. Now imagine if Airbnbs gets outlawed in like your city, or they have a statute against it. And this is all things we're dealing with right now. So I'm not an Airbnb guy. I have them. Like I tell you, they are not the highest performing, because everybody talks about the higher income you get it, and nobody wants to talk about the extent of obligation. And by the way, do you know what the biggest problem with Airbnbs? Most Airbnbs are not even insured. Do you know if you run an Airbnb as a business, even in your personal house for a month or two, it voids your entire policy. I deal with this all the time.
That's what investing's about.
So the minute somebody gets sued, you could be, you think you are not insured. You have to go get a special Airbnb type of policy. And it's like hotel expense type of stuff. So most of the people I deal with, I go, hey, listen, what happens if you get sued? They go, well, I have insurance. I go, no. Even if the house burns down, say there's an electrical fire, the minute they find out you're running a short-term rental and you do not have the proper insurance, you are 100% exposed. And everyone just wants to tell you about the upside of Airbnb. I'm just telling you, there is a lot of downside, and you got to keep it. So when you talk about rental properties to offset your income, that is correct. But here's the problem with that. You constantly have to chase it, and you have to keep buying to keep up with the pace. And if your income ever drops, then you can't keep that buying power, but all you are is kicking the can to the curb. A lot of people tell you about how to accelerate the depreciation. I'm the opposite, dude. I'm highly conservative. I'd rather just pay my tax base now, and then when I sell the asset, I'm pretty much going to get the most favorable taxes. So you can look at taxes today, you can look down the road. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer. We're all different. It depends on your income level.
Exactly. So let me tell you this. This is a book from the 70s, How Real Estate Fortunes Are Made, by George Bockel. When we talk about creating wealth, I think about your family, our family, my families, future families, all this stuff. And Airbnb is not in this book. Real estate is bought because it's a tried and true system that builds income, helps with everything. This book has been a lot of systems. Airbnb is not in here. Now, there are different strategies, I'll say it, but how to build an acquisitions team and systems actually in that book, chapter 2. I'm just telling you, like, nothing's new in this business. And the point is, if I want to build wealth, this is stuff I know in 200 years, the wealth that we create for my great, your great grandkids, they can have, right? And so I want everybody to understand this. When you start focusing on stuff outside of that, it's going to get in big trouble. So I want to talk about one thing really quick. I think the biggest scam coming out in wholesaling real estate wealth creation. And I do want to break this down. This is a huge one. But Mara says, aren't rentals supposed to offset the wholesaling income? This is the biggest fallacy, the biggest problem I've seen forever. People think in wholesaling real estate, I can run up $1 million and then I can just pour that money into rental properties, and then I don't have to pay any taxes, and it's a cheat code for life. It does not work that way. And I will tell you, it is one of the biggest scams I've seen. And because I can tell you, you can do great depreciation. There's great. But here's the problem. Your wholesaling income will always be larger than whatever depreciation you have. And you got to remember, unless you're doing a 1031 or something crazy, that's sort of going away now. But like I'm telling everybody, yes, the rentals are great, but the depreciation is only a catch-up game. And it does get paid back over time.
Yeah, eventually you got to, listen, one way or the other, you're going to pay your taxes. Yeah. And there's people who've done other videos on this. Sometimes you got to, like, I hate to say it, like, it's not the worst problem in the world to pay taxes because it means you're making money. Not a big fan of paying the government more than I need to, but the reality is I work within the limits of like what I know I can do. The problem is buying a property is just another problem for you to have. You got to manage it. You got to fund it. And remember, after you buy that property, you got to deal with it the next 10, 20 years, whatever your scope is it. And it does suck a lot of energy and time. And so sometimes, I'm not the only one that thinks that sometimes it's just more convenient to pay the tax because you're one and done with it. It's expensive, but like how expensive is it trying to manage 5 or 10 like high scale properties, whatever you want, Airbnb? It wears you out. I had 30 at one point, and that was with a team. And there's just so many things that can insurance, hurricanes, the government.
Unless you scale it up to the point where right now it's not going to do well.
But the problem is everyone you add, that's another commitment. Now I know, but like, well, I just hire hundreds and hundreds of people. Okay, well that's what we call payroll. And if you ever have a hiccup in your income, you're going to have to fire all these people, and you're going to have to start liquidating properties. I'm just telling you, for me, like, how much can you like manage in your mental capacity without having a staff of 100 people? So sometimes it is more convenient just to pay the tax because it frees you up to do everything else. And while we're at it, I don't believe in doing crazy tax schemes to like get ahead type of deal. So like, I like to live in states that are favorable where I don't have to pay state income tax. And, I like to be close to my family. Those are my two things on where I live. I would never decide where I'm going to live based on the amount of taxes. The reality is, my family lived in California, I'd probably still be in California. And like, that's how we, what's your priorities in life? We go to back. What do you think's wealthy? Wealthy to me is being close to my family and being there for the moments come. When the moments are gone and your elders pass away, you cannot go back in time.
True.
You cannot buy that time back. So many people like wealth, you can buy your time. You can for nominal things, but like when you want to spend it with grandparents and great grandparents, guys, please don't make a decision solely based on taxes, because at the end of the day,
on top of that too, I know Mayor's saying, I'm not saying you said I was going to do all of it, but that's how the people make it seem. And I want to tell people the big fallacy in this, because yes, that actually scheme thinks it seems really good, right? I make $1 million, I pour $1 million in, and I can write it all off. It's great, right? All this stuff. Here's the thing no one tells you. Because you're renting it out, you got to pay taxes on the rentals on top of that. So really the depreciation will only kind of help you write off some of the rental income, and then you're still stuck with the taxes for wholesaling. But then you poured all the money in, now you have no money for wholesaling taxes. That's a lot of people get that problem too. I just want everybody to understand this, that buying rental properties will not offset your wholesaling income, because that asset you bought is producing cash flow, which you have to pay taxes on top of that too. And then you got the whole other ball of wax on that.
Yeah, and it's just, you have to have the right structure. Most of you, the reality is, like, it sounds great in theory. I'm just telling you the practicality in your first few years, it's a little bit overwhelming, because depending on how you buy it, so now you got to deal with this great thing called a balance sheet. And boy, you sit down with a CPA, some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, and until you completely understand it. So the United States government doesn't make you submit a balance sheet till you have gross sales of 250,000, which isn't hard to get. And once you start doing that, you're going to find out you're going to have to get people much smarter than you start doing this, but you're going to have to understand it, because you don't understand it, they'll take advantage of you. And it becomes, by the time you do the management, understanding the balance sheet and all the accounting and the expenses to do that, you're like, well, I thought I bought this to offset my income, but you just jacked up your costs for the next 10 years. So if you don't know what you're getting into, you just said, hey, someone told me to buy rentals because it offsets my income. You got to go much deeper in that. What is your long-term plan? Because if your thing is to buy 4 or 5 properties, there's an easier way to do it. And if you think you're saving taxes, you're just 9 times out of 10, you're kicking the can to the end of the road.
Yeah, so I'm letting everybody know. Don't think it's the secret. Now, if you're making a ton of money, I tell everyone to buy rentals, but do it smart. Like the way that you kind of scaled it was not the best one when you had those 30.
It was terrible.
And then kind of you had to stop and then go from zero, not to zero, but like, and then you had to build it back up to where we're at now. The truth with what we do though is going from 100 rental properties to 1,000. It won't be any more work for us, because we know how to scale it up the right way. And now you got 2 people watching it too. But I tell you,
but I did that in the beginning. I'm telling you guys, I did not understand the financial implications. And then once you start buying, you're kind of stuck, because if you don't keep that pattern up, you're going to get stuck with a huge tax bill. And most of you aren't prepared to do that. But someone told me, keep buying rentals, that's going to offset my income. My advice to you, sit down with a CPA, someone more qualified. We're not here to give you tax advice.
Exactly.
And figure it out.
So number 3, we got to go to rent, because I feel like every wholesaler gets pushed this down their throat, and just be very careful on this. Okay. And I want everyone to understand this too. This is a big one. I'm not a big fan in syndication. I will not make $100,000 and then bring that to a person or a guru or whoever they are and trust them on it, because I'll tell everybody, I remember when the sickness started, and I'm not saying the keyword for YouTube because I don't like it, but I remember when the sickness happened. one person who runs a syndication. I have multiple. I know multiple that did this. What's the point of real estate, right? You buy it, you give the guy or gal 100 grand, then you expect 10 grand
security and income.
a year, security income. They said due to the sickness, we are stopping distributions.
Yeah.
And it's like, if I actually own the asset, I'd be doing that. And then I can sell it if I had to. And then you're stuck for years. Guys, control your own money. Do not give it to somebody else to do it for you. All right. And this is why we could do this. We could make a ton of money raising $50 million and then buying apartment complexes. We just don't do, like, we'll buy our own apartment complexes, but like, we like to control our own money and do it ourselves. So guys, just be careful now.
Syndication is, just so you guys know, when you go with syndication, usually you either get some sort of stock, you get like a stock with it, or like depending on how it's set up. But the reality is you have zero control in a syndication. You basically just gave a partner money. Yeah, you consume, you can do all that, but you don't have control that you think you do because you gave it up. And if you don't trust the person and they're not completely established, and I promise you, if it goes belly up, you will not get a dime. So I've been in syndications. I've been in 2 that went wildly south and very, very promising key pieces of assets. And I'm just telling you, it always comes down to the person puts together. But what happens in syndication, they get so involved in the marketing and raising the money, and then they get the money. There's a lot of pressure to keep that money turning and burning. And that's where a lot of bad decisions get made.
So if I'm just letting everybody, if somebody comes to you on a turnkey rental property thing, just run.
Because there's no security. You're not in a first position. You're not going to get it. You're just And by the way, on the average syndication, you're either helping the build out or you're just helping the initial down payment. And most syndications have the option, when they refinance it, they can just cash you out. And then they get the ultimate benefit. And for that reason, most of you don't even understand what a syndication is. So if you don't understand it, don't get into it. That's the easiest way to lose your money in real estate.
And the last thing I say on this is, there's been real estate YouTubers on wholesaling for a while now. They used to promote this one guy, and nothing bad about this one guy, but this one guy has been accused of, and it's shown that all these YouTubers on wholesaling were promoting this person for clout. And this person was taking your money and buying properties turnkey, and you would give them 100 grand. They'll say there's rental properties and all these great stuff. And they were like, and then they were taking your money and then they were investing it for you. And what happened was they just took the money, bought properties, and then left and just made the money. And then they skipped town, and now they're under investigation and they're going all over the country, the world.
They're not in the country anymore.
No, there's multiple ones like this. But like all the wholesalers, before my time started doing this. And then that guy was a fraud. And then not a fraud because innocent until proven guilty, but like the fund, everyone lost their money. So be very wary when wholesalers start promoting a new person and then they want your money to invest it. Guys, you're going to get, like, you've seen this year. Like, you've seen this in finance. Like, guys, unless you're controlling that wealth yourself, be very, very, very.
And this particular one, they would go on
more than
all
one.
these
There's
social,
more than
one. They would go on, prominent influencers would promote it. Every one of them got a kickback and then went belly out. And then here's the best part is, a lot of these influencers got taken advantage of too. And so instead of just ringing the alarm bells, hey, watch out for this person, they just keep their mouth shut. And I can't ever do anything like that. So I'm just telling you, when you hear the word syndication, understanding, if you don't truly understand how you're going to get your money back, don't do it, because you give up complete control.
Be careful, because this is not a syndication. This is an investment opportunity. So just be careful. But I'm just letting you know,
if you don't have a mortgage secured to the property, you're doing a syndication.
There's a lot of YouTubers in real estate investing in wholesaling that have done this, and I know the names. Here's the problem: they act like it never even happened.
They
delete the videos. We have evidence. Wait, what do you say?
Videos are still out there.
The videos are some of them, but like they're hiding it, and they don't want you to know. It's the biggest.
It's just convenient.
It's another big secret from them. So I just want you guys to know that we got the dirt too. But I'm just letting everybody know, just be careful. And that's why I tell everyone, when a new person promotes this one crazy new thing.
And I get it. They can't be responsible if someone does, but like you've got to vet people to make sure what they're doing is what they're saying. And the problem is when people like that, they winds up being these crazy schemes, like a Ponzi scheme. And that's where we get a bad rep in real estate. And just so you know, every one of these schemes that come up, they always come up through influencers on some sort of syndication. And so syndication, you have no way to secure it. Yeah, you can cry to the SEC, but by then it's like, and by the way, if you ever do a syndication, make sure somebody is 100% SEC compliant, because they were required to doing that. And it's expensive to set it up correctly. I'm just
letting you guys know, this has happened a lot. History does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I can almost guarantee in the future, there will be another wholesaler influencer guru that hasn't probably even had a YouTube channel yet that's going to promote somebody to invest. That fund goes belly up and you'll lose all your net worth. I'm just letting you know it will happen again, because it happens time after time and time again. And that influencer get a kickback from you investing. They'll get their money and then they'll run. I'm letting you guys know, we see it in every industry. It's happened in wholesaling on YouTube before. It will happen again. One person's going to save their whole net worth with their family from just this statement.
Yeah.
Please, this is why we go against the gurus.
Sounds too good to be true. And like, I don't think, have we ever deleted a video?
Not one.
Yeah. And so like when you see people deleting videos, like, dude, just come through and help people out. Like, you're not responsible for someone doing bad, but you can say, listen, I endorse this person. They've gone south. I've had a problem with. If you have an issue, I would reach out and seek legal counsel. I think they owed that statement, and it never, and I've been in this 20 plus years. It's the same thing over and over. I could give you 50 people that have done this.
Let's go to number 3 here. Number 3 is how we got rich. We have a genuine care of people, not profits. This has helped us on every aspect of wholesaling real estate. All right, we're not talking about helping people learn like this is for wholesaling, okay? There's 3 aspects in wholesaling real estate. There's 3 main ones. And our genuine care of people, not profits, has made us rich in each one. What are the 3 ones? There's marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions. I'm going to tell you a big secret. It is all about people on each one. There is marketing, caring about the person in the marketing. There's acquisitions. That's probably the biggest one. There's dispositions, building that relationship with the cash buyer and getting it sold. A lot of people think we're at a grocery store for dispositions where I have an apple, come in and buy it. It's just here. There's no salesmanship. No, that's not how real estate's working. Real estate is like the, have you ever been to a, have you ever been to a shopping mart where there's nobody in there? And like, this is the best one. Have you ever been to those like salons, like in a downtown, and there's someone outside trying to lure you in for like $300 haircut? Yeah. That's kind of what cash buyers like. You're not be like, hey, we got burgers. If you want it, go get it. No, it's like, hey, we have the best burgers in here. You want to go get it and build that relationship from there. It's all about a genuine care for people and doing the right thing, not caring about the profits for everything, but just caring about the people. And I can tell you, you might not make the money in the short term doing that, but over the long term, you will get rich doing that. And that is a big secret we have. We're exposing it to the world. Yeah. And we can't make a course on this. If I made a course on that, people would just refund it instantly. That's why we don't sell courses. But like,
that's the problem with the business is like, it is profit over people. Let's just say what it is. It's like, if you give me this amount of money, I'll show you how to do this. Well, we just do it the opposite. I go, what if I just show you how to do this? And then if there's an opportunity somewhere down the road, we can work together because we build trust. Let's do it. Me and Zach, we're kind of vilified in this business because we do it the opposite. Why we do the opposite? Business has a 95% failure ratio. And we keep blaming the students. Dude, if you were a teacher and you had that kind of failure rate, eventually you got to get fired. Now, I'm not here to fire the gurus. It's up to you guys to decide who you're going to do it with. But like, if I put people over profit, that's how I do it. But people always like, oh, it's always people first. No, it's not. Because if Johnny doesn't give you $5,000, you are not going to share the information. And that's where I think we are at a pivotal shift in this business. And everyone's told me I'm crazy for what I do. Zach, I don't care. Until we fix that 95%, this is how it's going down, because they know they're taking advantage of 95%. And here's the other thing, while the student do the work. Like you made the pitch so perfect. I've even bought into these pitches. The reality is you're not getting with the truth of how much work this truly is. Listen, wholesaling is not for everyone. No. I think we just need to say that out loud. Like if you don't like hard work, you don't like to solve problems, and you want to sit around and do nothing, wholesaling is probably the worst thing you can ever do. Exactly. But a guru here's the only filter. It's the truth, because I've been there. If you got a credit card that swipes, you're good. You don't even have to speak the native language. Like I've seen like crazy stuff, and we've come to the point where they will do anything for a sale. They will call you endlessly off the hook. You got to do discovery calls. We're going to pay huge commissions to people. And guys, I think what's that book out there? Profit. There's one like Profit First. I haven't read it. I heard it's actually a good book, but like it kind of sends the wrong message, because if you help enough people and you get them to the promised land and you help them out, you should be able to do this. But it requires a marathon. When Tony Robbins started out, he did everything 100% for free. Why? Because he wanted to become so valuable, people couldn't live without him. And me and Zach Zach are developing a business model where everybody benefits from it, and the people that we earn the most trust with will eventually do the business with us.
Exactly. So what's the truth? If I can just say one sentence on how we got rich in wholesaling real estate, exposed all these things, because people, they love seeing it, right? Why? You've done this, I've done this, not me personally, but like you've put 20 years in this business, making 6 to 7 figures every single year for 20 years straight. I've done it pretty much for 5.5 years straight, 6, but I'll call it 6 or 7 figures for about 6 years straight. So 26 years combined of each of us making 6 to 7 figures a year, doing that, making 6 and then up the way to 7. So you want to ask what my big scam is. Why guys, we've put our time in this business. We've made enough wealth where we don't have to do anything anymore. And so what is the true secret of why we give everything out for free? What our big game plan for everything is? And here's the truth. We put our time in. We give everything out for free because we've made the money. This is not the last time we're going to talk about this, but this is our little exposed video so we can explain it to the people, because a lot of people always want to know what the catch is. Here's the truth. And I hate to say this. What we do, I don't consider it charity because we make a lot of money with it with the JV deals and other stuff. Yeah. But if you ever go to a homeless person, and there's 2 ways homeless people get stuff, right? You got the gurus in wholesaling that will donate to homeless people. And then you got people like, I might say us, but like nice people. There's 2 ways that people donate to homeless people. Number 1, if I'm a real estate guru, wholesaler, this is the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, but this is what I've seen. Ready? Here's $20. Wow, I'm such a good person.
Listen, if you have to film it and take credit for it,
but the homeless guy,
you didn't do it out of the kindness of your heart. You did it as an advertising and a promotion, and like I guess it's okay. But the thing is, just do it when nobody's around and just help people out. Like filming it, think about how the person feels when you're filming it. They're at the lowest point in your life and you're filming it, and he knows it's going out on the internet. They're not stupid, and it's like it breaks my heart to do that. Like if you just want to pick up a check, please just do it. Stop putting it all over the internet, because the reality is you just have a paid advertisement and you want to get the credit for it. Guys, I do it all the time. I will never post on the internet, because if you're truly humble and you want to help people out and you have a big heart, just do it. Stop taking, you are not getting, what credit do you want? The best credit you can give, if you give someone that truly doesn't need it and ask for it, and you just give it and you just smile and you move on, and maybe your family recognizes it because they already know you, that's it. When you need the internet to give you likes for that, I don't want to stop it, but I'm just telling you, at like some point, why do we have to film? Like, I think there's just limits on
I want to explain this. So there's one not prominent, I won't call him prominent, him or her, but they did this. They paid their film videographer to go out and show them how they donated something to somebody. It was like a $50 donation to a homeless person. Yeah. The cost to drive a videographer to the person's house, drive and find the homeless person, probably 2 hours, give him $50. Videographer goes back, edits the video, posts it on YouTube. It cost $100 to make that video, and they gave the homeless guy $50. Yeah. And this is one. I'm just calling out one person on this, and they're probably watching this, and they know who they are. It's disgraceful what I see. And so what I've said before and what I've seen, that's the biggest problem. What do the good people do? They just donate. They don't ask. They don't talk about it. They keep it low key, right? And that's one problem I have with wholesaling gurus. But what I could tell you is, when I give free information out, when I give free stuff out, when you give a homeless man off the street, and I don't want to talk, okay, I'm not going to talk about any instances in our lives, but let me talk about another person, I guess. Theoretically, if someone was to give $500 to a homeless person, or like a single mom of like Thanksgiving food or something, do you think that single mom is going to be like, oh, there's a catch to this? No, they'll accept it and just say thank you, right? Yeah. Here's the thing. When I go out here and give millions of dollars of wholesaling info to you for free, everyone says, what's the catch? There's something up to this. This is a scam. And we get haters. It's hilarious. But every single time, and I'll use one example. I'm not using this for clout or anything, but like every single time I have donated something, or, all right, I'll say this. Okay. When I was a kid in middle school, I don't want to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that either. Let's say, for example, I don't know how to say this the right way. All right, let's do this. I used to work at the Red Cross when I was in middle school. Okay. That's another thing I did. Every single time we did something to help the people out, I never got a, what's the catch, all this stuff, right? It was always a thank you and gratitude. And that's the way charity's kind of like, to a point. And I'll let you, so why do we give everything out for free? We call it a charity. Now we make money off it, but like, there's no catch to it. This is the way we treat it to the industry. We want to help the people out, and we don't want anything back. Okay. We don't give food to a homeless person and expect them to pay me back in 5 years when they get rich. We don't do it. So everybody wants to know, how do we make our money? What do I do? What is our game plan? What's the thing? We want to give to the people and we don't want anything back. And I'll tell you this, the more value we've given to the people, the more money our wholesaling business has gotten. And it's the law of attraction. But I'll tell everybody, so everybody wants to know what's the catch? What's all this stuff? We help the people out. We don't want anything back. And of course we make money in wholesaling on it. But like, why do we give a lot of free stuff out like this? Because we just want to give back. Guys, if it wasn't for wholesaling real estate, I would not be here today. You would not be here. I would be in a job right now.
Yeah.
You would be in a job right now. We'd not be spending time that we could never get back. This would have been a time we've spent together that would have never happened. That's a memory that would have gotten destroyed. And we can tell you that's one of the most valuable things I can have in my life, our family's life, right? I get to spend time with my mom today from, like anytime I want, right? Like, I was hanging out with her this morning, right? Yeah. If I had a job, I've never been able to do that. And I make a ton of more money doing that. Like, these are memories you can never get back.
So guys, I've watched 20 plus years of the cold coaching business. I can tell you, like, me and Zach are not here to line our pockets. We've done it. I've done it through 20 years of wholesaling. I enjoy, I'm like, if I never worked another day, I'm fine. People are like, what's the catch? Why would you bypass all those coaching dollars? Because to me, I'm looking to run a marathon. Let every other coach run their little sprint because I've watched them. Here's the game plan. You ready for this? Tell me if the coach you've hired or not, they've gone in wholesaling specifically. Here's what they did. They wholesaled 2 to 4 years. 4 years, on year 3 and 4, they usually burn out. Like they push it to the max, to the point they're going to break. And then they release a course and then they switch, and you will never, ever see them in a wholesaling deal again. Why? Because this is much easier. It's much more conducive. And that's the truth. Why haven't we switched? Because that's a sprint. I'm here for the marathon. We're doing what nobody else will do. Why? Who can sit here? Like, guys, most people make zero money doing YouTube because it's a grind. It's a lot of work. I actually love the information, so I don't really consider it a grind.
Everybody asks, like, Zach, oh, you make YouTube ad revenue. And yes, wholesaling real estate does. And I'll tell everyone, it is the best, like, per 1,000 views, the most money possible. And we make a lot of money with it. But here's the thing. I don't think a lot of people understand it. This channel is run pretty much at a loss. It costs money to run this channel. You know why? Guys. If you've seen the editing we've had lately, the cost, I'll tell you what we have. I'll tell everyone right now. We have 2 video editors who work 40 hours a week for us. 2 video editors, they work 40 hours a week.
You do the math.
Think the math on that. And those are people that have been in this industry for decades. Health insurance, all the great stuff, right? Because that's how we treat it. Just think of how expensive it is to make these videos. Now, this is a live stream. It's pretty free, but like I let you know, like everyone always makes YouTube ad revenue, all this. Guys, it's
not like we don't rely on
zero,
any of it.
Okay?
Like it's.
But I will tell you, I do like it because I can buy a gaming PC and write the whole thing off, which is nice for me. But like, I'll tell you guys, if I want to go travel somewhere, I can write that off because I'm doing a meetup with our community. And that's why I'm traveling. I'd like to write it off. But like, what I want everybody to understand is we're here to help the people out. But this comes back to our last most important thing. And this is something you and I have a shared vision on. This is what we're going to do. We like the charity part of helping the people out, but there's only one thing more important than that. Not more important, but to the community, right? Mm-hmm. How we bless the community, we give everything up for free. But that is kind of I hate to say it, but like that is something, it's very shallow because you're only helping the people during this time. What we really want to do right now is help the people out when we're dead. And that's the truth. When I pass, when you pass, I want what we have done to continue to the next generation. Unfortunately, if I make everybody rich now and we pass away, the whole industry is going to keep doing the guru thing and then we're gone, right? There hasn't been one wholesaler that does what we do for free. 100%. No, that has never sold the course, dead or alive. And so unfortunately, if we unfortunately pass away, which it will happen in the future, just hundreds of years, I don't know. We never know, right? We don't have that plan, but we want to create that legacy. And if we can be the catalyst that creates the wholesaling environment and the community to just make everything for free, when we're gone, our legacy is there forever. You don't have to know my name. I don't care about you knowing my name, but the industry giving everything out for free in this information, that's what we want, right? And that's something charity can't do. And so that's why we go hard on the pain, on the content and the gurus. So what I want to do the last part here.
And that's why, guys, we don't have a lot of giveaways. We don't do rebates. Why? Because we don't take the short-term coaching money. Like, honestly, I give it away every day. Honestly, if you're struggling and you're just trying to keep your lights on and you have a passion for wholesaling, me and Zach can help you out. You're going to have to do the work. And the beauty of the way we do it, we can absolutely just tell you the truth. I'm like that uncle that just, you hated, but you love. loved because they just told you the truth. And when you pay someone, you are renting their headspace to try to give you a navigation to get through. And a lot of times when I paid people, you don't always get the truth. You sometimes get at the end, but sometimes it's too late. So it's like, we don't have a rebate. We don't give money back. Why? Because we don't take millions of dollars. Because honestly, I don't believe people should be taking your money for that. It's their right. And if you guys want to do it, but just keep that in mind.
Exactly. So let's break down really quick our master plan to take over wholesaling. I'm even letting the gurus know what our plan is.
Yeah.
That's how confident I am.
They can't figure out how we're going to do it because we don't take coaching revenue.
They can't beat us. So this is it. This is our plan to take over the wholesaling community and really do the legacy the right way that we want it. Okay.
And we don't want the coaching community to that's it. We're just trying to help wholesalers.
So like I've said before, Mark Twain said this: history does not repeat itself, it rhymes. And there in wholesaling real estate, about 4 years ago, it was extremely similar to what we've seen history before. And as someone that studies history, this is true. So there was something back in the old days called the Dark Ages. And the Dark Ages was a period, I think, from 500 to 1500 in Europe. This was a period for about almost 1,000 years. There was basically zero technological improvement of the human race for 1,000 years. That's insane, right? It's insane to think about. Yeah. At least 700, but at least 1,000, right? How did this work? Wholesaling was in the Dark Ages. Why was it called the Dark Ages? Because no technological advances were going on. People were very poor. You were either a feudal lord or you were a serf, and you worked till you died, and that was your life. And it never stopped. And who controlled everything? The puppeteer. I'm not saying this to be sacrilegious, but there was the church owned everything. If you wanted to learn how to read or write, it had to go through the church. When you went to church, they would read you the Bible, and you couldn't read it yourself. So you couldn't they controlled all the information basically, because to read and write, all books had to go through the church. And if they didn't like something, they wouldn't go through. Now that's the church from thousands of that, different than today. But I'm just telling you, the Dark Ages, because the controllers of the top controlled everything and they liked their power and they did not want to change it. But what happened? What stopped that? I'll tell you what happened was what they called the Renaissance. The Renaissance is French for rebirth, okay? And then the Renaissance happened. This is when pretty much the printing press became a thing. This was when information, and I hate to say this, but it's true, became basically free. Because to have a book, it cost in that time thousands of dollars because they had to hand write it by hand, right? The printing press made everything basically for free. Information became free. Everybody had books. Everyone learned how to read and write. Guess what happened when the people were able to get knowledge for free? The whole game changed. Art became a thing, music, all this great stuff, but people didn't have to be beholden to the top leader that stopped all the information. And it created basically, you call it Western civilization, to really grow into what it is today. The Industrial Revolution, all this stuff came from that. And that was the time where basically you've seen what technology has been since that time in 530 years versus the 1,000. It's insane. And so what we've seen is wholesaling is in the Dark Ages. The gurus control all the information. I want to get rich in wholesaling. You got to pay. It stops anybody who's on the bottom of the economics in the United States. They can't go above because they don't have $3,000. The Renaissance, the printing press, is us. We are the printing press. I hate to say it, no one else has gone up and done this. We are the printing press. The information is now free to the people. And this, I feel like, will have the renaissance of wholesaling real estate where everyone has the opportunity to get rich. So what is our plan? We're going to end the gurus, right? And the church changed, right? They became a lot better, but they didn't stop, but they just became better, right? And that's kind of the point. And so when the day that we pass off, hopefully in a very long time, the information's there and people are learning wholesaling for free. And all I want to do is give. I want to give the opportunity to a kid maybe living in a rougher part of town that their parents never had any money and they're stuck in this wheel and they're able to get this information for free. They go to a local library, get this on a computer for free, and they're able to make 6 figures and bring themselves out of that situation. The single mom, the single dad, the person with kids that just wants to make a better life for themselves. They don't work that 9 to 5.
So yeah, guru has the guru is defined as like a religious leader, the highest form of it. So I think it's kind of funny that guru and Like we're talking a little bit.
It's true though.
But you guys, you got to understand, man, like it's, and then, so here's what gurus have told us, not my words. Number one, said it would never work. Already out the door. Number two, they say, if you don't have skin in the game, no one's ever going to learn. The amount of testimonials we have. And by the way, we never go out and chase you guys for testimonials like a lot of shameless gurus do and promote you. And the last one, I just want you guys to understand, every influencer guru told me and Zach that you're just going to get the haters. You're going to get the nasty people. People want stuff for free. They're the worst people in the world. That's you guys. That's what he and she's are saying about you guys. And like, we're different about it. But here's the deal is, they want people that will write a large check. We all want that. But then the people write their checks, they don't even understand what they're doing, and they just go along with what they're saying because they're so enamored by the guru and they want that control. They could never deal with the free public because guess what the free public wants, Zach? The truth.
They want the truth.
You ain't never going to get it from a paid guru because their job is to drive revenue. And why you see so many coaches, because their coaches tell them, if you can drive the revenue super high, we can sell it for a 10 or 20 times the revenue and I'll make you a gazillionaire. It's ridiculous. Once again, it comes down to profits. It doesn't come down to people. So we reverse engineer it. So you guys are the free. You're kind of the test for us. And honestly, I ain't scared of anyone because if you don't want to do the hard work, you guys know in the lies, I'm going to tell you, if you want to get on here and complain, you're just wasting your own time and everyone else is around you. And eventually people will call you to the plate.
Yeah. So I want everybody to understand this, that like, we're here to change everything and we're here to end the gurus. We're here to really change the world. Oops.
By the way, we invite gurus. Just make what I think every guru should put their course out there and make it 100% transparent at least 30 days before you buy it. Because then you know what you're getting into and then you can compare apples to apples. But you're never going to get there. Why?
Have you ever seen a church?
Because they're scared and they don't want that information out there because if you knew what it was, you would never ever pay for it most likely.
I want to ask you one thing. A lot of gurus, a lot of coaches, they talk about how they have a community and they have like this group of people, right? Mm-hmm. And that's great. Here's the thing. Have you ever gone to a church or seen a church, a mosque, a synagogue, whatever religion you are, that to walk into it, to be in their community, you had to pay $4,000? Have you ever?
It's insane.
Have you ever?
No.
That's
not how community, like, listen.
But when you have a community, everybody pays kind of for the community and rises there. You've never seen that. Could you imagine go to a church and they say $6,000 to join our community? Like, what?
Think about it, guys. Like,
there's actually some,
we're not pushing any religion, but like most religions say, listen, come, we'll hang out together. We'll all be better people. And then if you want to help out, you can help out. And I'm okay with that. But like, think about how we do it in wholesaling coaching. You have to pay me this fixed price. I'm not going to tell you anything past the marketing. And if you don't agree with it, I'm not giving you a time of day because you're a pain in my butt and you just want stuff for free from me. Imagine if we operated like that.
You need skin in the game to join this religion.
Oh, like, I can't give you that. And guys, keep in mind, anybody who sells a course, for the most part, and Tony Robbins, one of the rare exceptions, when they do a podcast or interview, they have to hold all information back. Otherwise, they would never get a sale done. Think about it. How can I, if I brought someone and say, Guru, and say, let's get in the nitty gritty of wholesaling, it'd be a great conversation. But I know I would dominate the conversation because they go, well, Rick, that's in my course. I can't say it out loud here. I'm like, let's just share it. Guys, we have come from the dark times. We're shedding light on this. It was so funny when we came out. Literally everybody attacked. And like, guys, we're not going anywhere. You can shoot your arrows as much as you want. They're just going to bounce off because I'm not going anywhere.
And this is the last religious thing I'll tell you, but there's a lot of similarities with this. The reason why, because from what is happening now with the renaissance of wholesaling real estate, I want the gurus to start branching out and actually give information for free. I'll be okay with that because once they start giving things for free, they'll just start doing JV deals and make money. What is this like? So like most people watching this, if you're in the United States and if you're in a church or whatever, right? The Renaissance, this is really funny. There's one church during the Renaissance, the Catholic Church, right? Mm-hmm. Every religious sector, Protestants, Lutheranism, Calvin, they all branched out after they started learning about the religion. They all branched and made their own one. There's statistically, you're probably outside of a Catholic if you're a Christian. Here's the cool part. It all became because the people learned and they started creating their own communities within it. And then they decided to think things different ways. The gurus are all on one little thing, this way or the highway. Yeah, we're trying to branch it out because there's different parts of wholesaling. And what I could tell you is we're going to let the people take back the industry and everyone can share the knowledge for free. So that is it. That's us exposed. That's what we're doing. So you want to expose us. This is our method. This is what we're doing. This is the renaissance of wholesaling real estate, the rebirth of this industry. Yeah. Anything else to say on that?
No, No, I think we've been around. Like I've been doing this a long time, guys. I had a lot of experience in wholesaling, and I looked at the entire coaching, and like 2013, 14, I was beyond bothered with this industry. Like everything is a quick dollar, and the fact that way me and Zach's done it, you guys notice we don't do the whole like. I don't need somebody on my show to grow my following. Here's the reality: is most gurus, they bring someone else, it's very self-serving. The reality is they just want the other person's subscribers and users, and then they're going to peddle a product. 9 times out of 10, the other guru doesn't even know about it. I've watched people complain about a guru promoting a product, and they didn't even realize what the other person was doing. I remember there was a real incident about 6 years ago. It was really bad. And the thing is, nobody ever comes on any of our lives or podcasts that we don't research and vet. And when they BS us, which is most of the time, we stop it. The reason is they don't come on our show is because they can't pitch a product. And if you can't pitch a product, anybody can be successful in wholesaling. And if someone tells you, if you don't pay my course fee, you're not going to be any good at it, prove them wrong. Go to freewholesaling.com.